Cold War Zombies, the fifth Treyarch Zombies game, it had a lot of good, but a lot of bad at the same time. Today we are going to analyze Cold War and explain why Cold War Zombies failed. We are going to have five sections: the good, the bad, the maps itself, Outbreak, and explain why Cold War Zombies failed. The good. It had one of, if not the best mechanics in zombies. The armor system, it was a good and bad thing at the same time. The good, it was because it was very accessible and it fit right in with the salvage system. It was good. It was hard to die on early rounds. And it was very player friendly. The bad is that you have to rely on it a lot in Cold War on high rounds. And if you don't have armor in high rounds, I think at one point it's a three-hit system with no armor. I just feel like that's unnecessary. But it does fit in good with Cold War because you get hits in Cold War all the time. You just have to accept it. You're gonna get hits every time. It doesn't matter, but the armor system kind of helps that with the player for not dying a lot. The rarity system. Yeah, it's a controversial thing, but I don't mind it, and this is why. This it fits in perfectly with the salvage system. If there was no rarity system, I don't think salvage will be this important. For example, Vanguard has no rarity system, and salvage is not that important. Yeah, you buy on, but after that, there's nothing much to buy with the salvage. I think it was a perfect time to add the rarity system in with the salvage system. It fit perfectly with it, and it was a great fit. And the mantling, I feel like this doesn't get talked about enough. I absolutely love the mantling system. Makes you feel free and not confined. It can make the difference between life and death, or the shortcuts the mantling gives you is insane. It really shows in speedruns where the movement and mantling can share a couple seconds, and it's just really fun to see speedrunners optimizing these routes and do like a mantle you never seen before and you didn't even know existed. I can't say enough good things about this. The tier system. I like the tier system with perk, guns, and ammo mods and field upgrades. But I can see why people don't like it. It's out of game progression. I could definitely see that, but I think it is a good because it makes perks like death perception actually good. No one uses death perception for its main feature, seeing zombies through the walls, but they use it because it gives you so much more salvage, and with salvage is everything in this game. They made also Mule Kick be more useful. Yeah, Mule Kick, people use it for the third gun. It's not as much as Death Perception. No one uses the main thing. Mule Kick is actually used for the third gun, but it also uses for ammo. It's really good with the Wonder Weapon, with the Ray Gun or the Cerberus, where it gives you ammo constantly, and it's just really good with that. Even with PhD Slider, the sliding is very helpful with that. It gets you far away from the zombies as possible. It gets you out of tough situations, and I just think it's really good. One perk I feel like needs a buff for its main feature is Speed Cola. The reload needs a huge buff. Speed Cola's reload is so slow compared to the older games. Half the time I use Speed Cola because of its recharge rate on the field upgrade, not because of the reload. And how accessible it is was when Cold War launched, everyone played it. Tfue, Tim the Tatman, everybody played it. It was so well known. It was great. Great time, honestly. Multiple people returned to zombies, and for some people, Cold War was their first zombies experience. They did a good job of making the first map very player friendly, and D Machine holds a special place in my heart because for 1 to 2 months, that is what I played every day, and I loved it. I grinded for Dark Ether on it, did around 100 on it. It was amazing. Absolutely loved it. And the Rampage Inducer. This came later in the season, but I feel like I had to add this because how good it was. It just made another layer of good. It just different way to play the zombies. I think it was great. The bad, nothing. Yeah, every game has nerfs, but I feel like zombies shouldn't have any nerfs. Yeah, if something's extremely OP, okay, yeah, nerf it, whatever. But when you make nerfs just to make life harder and make it more inconvenient, a good example is the health cap. Why would you buff it? It was perfectly fine at 30,006. The ray gun was a two-shot and it was fine with that. Even they even nerfed the ray gun. It was annoying, but it was fine for it to be a two-shot kill. With 3 and 5 it was a one-shot kill, so it was kind of a okay thing. And Deadwire was so OP when it first came out with the Tier 5 system. Absolutely loved it. You shoot one bullet and you see the horde disappear. They just patched stuff. It just didn't make any sense. They also patched the Easter egg steps where you can do a step in a step. They patched it and took that people's old records away. I just feel like that's so good because they're optimizing the speedrun or the Easter egg itself to make it feel more convenient to the player. I just feel like nerfing stuff in zombies is extremely annoying. The lack of content. I will go more in depth when we talk about the maps, but the long wait between D Machine and 5AZ, it was pretty bad. Even though D Machine was a really good map, after you play it for a long time, it gets boring like any map should. But the wait between Outbreak and Mauer is their downfall. Everybody was gone after Mauer release. The community was dead. The waiting period was long as hell. Personally, I left. I left a bit after Outbreak, like probably 2 weeks after I got everything tier 5 because I just got bored of it. There was nothing to do. It doesn't feel like zombies. This is one of the main complaints about Cold War Zombies. It feels like multiplayer for like Warzone. It doesn't feel like you're playing zombies. In older games like BO3, felt totally different for multiplayer. You feel like you're in the map. The aesthetic is beautiful. The setting fits for what the map is trying to accomplish. Cold War feels bland. I'm trying to explain it as best I can, but you just had to play it to experience. It has no personality. The map doesn't have any personality. The operator system. This goes hand in hand with now making it feel like zombies, but the operator system was so boring and bland. They have generic voice lines. Where was a crazy scientist with a drunk Russian? Where you feel like you are the character most of the time. I forgot who I am because they just don't say anything. They don't interact. And I'm not the biggest storyline guy. I really don't care about the storyline, but progressing through the rounds and finding stuff and hearing how characters react to set objects. When the Panzer spawns on DE and Dempsey says, I thought we left this guy in France. This might not be the exact quote. I paraphrased it or just got it wrong completely, but I remember it. Or like when Dempsey breaks the fourth wall. On Origins, or even on Origins, you see the characters respond to Samantha. Nikolai is nice and caring towards Samantha and wants us to save her. It is cool to hear this progress when you progress through the Easter egg. And finally, Intel. Honestly, who actually cares about Intel? No, let's be honest. I don't need to say much because there's nothing much to say about Intel. It's just bad. Who actually thought that would be a good idea just to think of something Intel? Oh yeah, people actually care about. No one cares about that. Come on, let's be real. The maps. Lack of personality. Probably my biggest complaint and why I'm scared for the future of zombies. There was no personality to the maps. They are all campaign remakes. Let me give you an example. D Machine. I'll give you it's original. Yeah, it's a knocked remake, but it feels original. So I'm not gonna count that. But Firebase, the starting room is a campaign. Is legit the campaign. But it's not much of the campaign, so I'm not gonna complain about Firebase that much. But it's still starting room campaign. But I like the starting room, so I'm not gonna complain that much. But then we get to Mara. And Mao's center of the map is right out of the campaign, right out of the Berlin mission in the campaign. It just loses that sense of personality to it if it's just a campaign remake. And Forsaken, I feel like most of the map is just out of the campaign. The starting room, the jug room, the other place where you teleport. It's just all out of the campaign. I think the only part that's not out of the campaign is where you build the wonder weapon and where you teleport last, where you fight the abomination first. It's just not, it doesn't feel like anything. It's just campaign remake, honestly. S- And when you play these maps, they have no personality. The Machine's a base. Firebase is a freaking base. Mao, do it, cool. I'll give you the Berlin, amazing map. I'll give you that. 100%. But then Forsaken, some test facility. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where the hell Forsaken is, but as, it's boring as shit. In older games, the setting was so cool. Morgue City, Alcatraz Island, a freaking Coliseum. It's just boring. A base, a base, another base, testing facility base. The lack of effort. Trust me, I know the devs are on a crunch time. It's not the devs' fault. Let me just say that outright. I'm not blaming the devs. But anyways, I think this is a huge problem and a main reason I am also scared of the future zombies. So when I see D Machine came out, everybody was playing it. It was amazing. Then Firebase came out, and I played that for about 1 week. And it was just boring. I got everything I got out of the map after a week. The Mao came out, and when Mao came out, most of the community was gone. The wait between Outbreak and Mao was so big that the community just died. And I don't blame it, honestly. There was no hype of the map at all. So I played it, and I played it for about 5 days. Not even. And I was like, after the 5 days, I'm like, I'm bored of the map. It's not really dynamic. But it was not just me. The YouTube content from Mao was non-existent. Maybe after a week, the YouTubers would not make content about Mao at all. And I don't blame them. Then Forsaken came out. Honestly, I had a lot of fun with the Wonder Weapon. It was fun to build, fun to play with. It was great. But I also played Forsaken for like 3 days. The arcade system was cool, but I just after once I'm like I don't care about the arcade system. I played it for like it was a cool feature. I'll give you that. Still, 3 days. There was nothing pulling me back in. And I think I know why. Treyarch lost their love of making these maps. I feel like they just didn't care about these maps. Their heart wasn't in it. It was like they had to make these maps as fast as possible, and as a result of that, it came out dry and generic. Honestly, I don't think it was Treyarch. I personally think that Activision is the most to blame here, and as a result of the generic maps, we had nothing pulling us back in. Yeah, in the first week, it's okay, but I lost that. Oh my god, this map is insane. And now we're like, oh, cool. Portal. It's not like I haven't seen that yet. You can give people as much shit as you want, but the maps they produced were dynamic. They were filled to the brim with passion and care. They actually cared about the maps. Okay, except Alpha Omega. That map was thrown together at a New Year's Eve party. Not even joking, that map is actually bad. Awful. But apart from Alpha Omega, there was a lot of tons of side Easter eggs. Always a cool setting, a Colosseum, an ancient Greek, a place in ancient Greek where ancient evil is. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what ancient evil is, but I'm guessing it's in Greek, and it's cool as shit. And I'm not honestly not the biggest BO4 fan. I just picked the most recent game before Cold War. This is what Cold War is missing. They just don't care. And if they don't care, why do you think the community will? Outbreak. I honestly think the Outbreak was a good idea for a side mode. A side, not a main mode, a side mode. The problem with Outbreak is not really Outbreak itself, it's that Treyarch, the people actually cared about Outbreak, and their main focus was on Outbreak and not round base. Basically, the whole year we were crying for a round base map. And yet, you know what we got? Armada. Why? Why do you think that was a good idea? Just another Outbreak map, no one cared. And it's not like the Outbreak updates were good. They just weren't. And it scares me because Vanguard is trying to do what Outbreak did, but worse. Outbreak is pretty bad. How did you get worse? You can see that they are trying to move away from Outbase and you do more Outbreak style, objective based. I don't know why. It's not like Outbreak is that fun. It's really boring. It could have been better with PvP, but I don't know. Outbreak would have been fine for a side mode you play once in a blue moon or once in a month. Not a mode that gets more content than round base. Why did it fail? Cold War was amazing. It was great but after a while the flaws were present. It settled in. Cold War failed because of the lack of passion they put in the maps, the lack of dedication towards the maps. And so we get unpolished maps that are good after a week and it's not like we get these maps constantly. We get them in a very long period of time. But you know what we got? Outbreak content. And Outbreak is the main reason why Cold War failed. Not because it was bad and boring. It was because they got more content than Rambo's, even though no one played Outbreak. And we will see the round base getting pushed off to the side in Cold War. And we see what could happen when you get an objective-based game in Vanguard. Cold War failed because it started a trend. of less round base and more objective base, and it could destroy the future of zombies. That is why I think Cold will fail. But anyways, thank you for watching my video. If you enjoy this content, just comment, maybe like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.